Shanghai remains on lockdown and mass testing being implemented as Chinese officials try to control a growing COVID outbreak. Anderson joins us this morning from Beijing. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Shanghai is tightening its controls on day 2 of the lockdown. Today, the officials announced more explicit rules for residents in the currently locked down east side of the city, saying that people cannot leave their homes unless they go for a COVID test. That means no walking in hallways, no throwing out the trash. You cannot even walk your dog. So the clampdown is meant to minimize the impact on the economy. The ports, the airports, the stock exchange all remain open because of Shanghai's important economic role. However, shippers, manufacturers, logistics companies have all been complaining that they are having a lot of problems in the supply chain. The warehouses are shut because of the lack of staff. Truckers are unavailable. Cross-border requirements, they say, with disinfection and the increase in health checks for drivers is raising costs. A shipper, Maersk, says that their trucking service will be down 30% during the curbs. Shanghai, though, is trying to offset the problem, rolling out relief today for companies. $22 billion will be given in tax breaks for companies. Measures to cut costs are also being unveiled, like pushing online food delivery companies, for example, to cut fees. Subsidies are also being offered for retailers and frontline workers to ensure that staff can get their regular COVID tests and that they can afford them. Chinese state media, as you can imagine, has been really playing down this disruption. In fact, quoting local economists is saying that the city's GDP will be cut by 0.5% in Q1 and in Q2, but that overall, and especially for the overall economy, the impact, they say, will be minimal. However, there, as evidence that the officials are starting to rethink some of the COVID protocols, the zero COVID protocols. And Becky, I thought that this might be of a special interest to you. Shanghai updated its guidance for its COVID strategy, and they include this line that said that the city would support the import of COVID vaccines and therapeutic drugs. So this is the first time that the idea of importing vaccines is actually put in mainland Chinese government guidance. And it also comes when China has started to experiment and it's using Pfizer's COVID pill in hard-hit areas, other parts of China. They've already started to roll it out. So you're starting to see perhaps the reality on the ground, because of the spread, starting to push the authorities to do something that they haven't done before. And of course, that is embracing the idea of using some foreign therapeutics.
Hey, Eunice, the wording on that, is that the Shanghai government kind of making a plea to the Beijing government, to the national government on this level? Is it them kind of putting forth the idea that they'd be in favor of that, or is this something that really signals there's something that's going to happen imminently?
Well, right now it's only in the Shanghai guidance. But what's also been interesting is that state media have been touting Shanghai and its approach as possibly a testing ground for the rest of China. So because if you couple the state media rhetoric on Shanghai, and then we have this new guidance, you're starting to see this experimentation, which could very well lead to at least a slight opening of the door for some of these therapeutics and vaccines from other countries to come to China.